Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to our special second anniversary Free Enterprise Monday Night Race. That's right, we had Board dig into the archives and whip out a seed from the very early beginnings, one of the earliest stable versions of Free Enterprise. We're playing this on version 0.1.4. Val, when did you get into Free Enterprise? You remember about what version it was up to when you got started?
I came in just before version 3.0.
Gotcha. So right at the tail end of 0.2, and I think it had gotten all the way up to like 0.2.14. Lots of quality of life changes, economy changes, different safeties added to the game. So yeah, this is even before my time. I'm very excited to see those little things that hadn't even been fixed by the time I got into the game. Uh, we are noteworthy. We do have a Cecil start, and he will be your agility anchor, whether you like it or not. What else are you looking forward to seeing on this race, Val?
I'm just looking forward to seeing what the game was like before I joined up. I know seeing things from the past is always a great joy for me, so I'm extremely excited and extremely happy I'm not racing.
Oh yeah, and we have four great featured racers for you tonight. We have Tybalt, Rex Raoul, Poidrak, and Smapedy, all of whom I'm pretty sure also were not racing in the 0.1.4 days, or again, I think that's the version we're running tonight. So probably going to have quite a few surprises for them as well. Uh, and there's some stuff that our restreamer, by the way, tonight is Scala Kitty. Neon Gray is handling tracking for us. Scala Kitty's mentioned at least something that came to her mind, but she's not telling us. I'm excited to see what surprises we have in store here in the commentator's booth. Just, oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing. And indulging in our runner's misfortune.
Oh, we know Scala is very, very good at being tight-lipped about everything, so the surprises are going to be great. But like you mentioned, Cecil being your agility anchor, that could be a little rough if you're not used to using it.
Let's see, right out the gate, we do have, hey, cannon start, Cecil and Rosa, Legend Sword, which, this is before Forge the Crystal, but at least you're halfway to an Excalibur if, that's the Cecil flavor you want to roll with this seed.
Excalibur would definitely be a nice Cecil weapon, and starting with a Rosa, that's an incredible white mage to have on your side.
Oh, yeah. Plenty good at dishing out physical damage early game if you find a good bow and arrows, even more so if you get a heroine robe, which with this old T3 flag, I think is pretty regularly available in chess. Of course, you'll note there's no sort of G flag, and although modern Free Enterprise turns all the glitches off by default, back in these days, they were on by default. So our racers are going to have access to the duplication glitch, the MP underflow glitch. If anyone's feeling really spicy, they could even do the 64 floor hierarchy glitch. Probably won't see that one tonight, but definitely some good options in play to get our funds rolling early on.
And we see Rex and Poijak both look like they're trying to set up for that item duplication glitch. So that's going to be interesting. Good way to get a lot of money early. Another thing we have to note, and we take for granted now, they don't have auto dashing. They have to make sure they're pressing down the right button.
It is kind of funny because you'll note that whenever they complete like a menu or talking to an NPC or doing an event, that first couple steps is going to be back to a snail's pace like the vanilla game, and they're like, oh yeah, Y button, and then they start speeding up again.
I am so happy I get to do commentary for this tonight. It is absolutely hilarious to see. And of course, great runners running it.
Oh yeah, I was sorely tempted to dive into this one tonight, but of course, those of us on the admin team knew what was coming. We had petition board to roll this for the weekly, so I didn't want to be, like, oh, let me go practice my duplication glitches, make sure I have everything, hot and ready to roll in the race. So, a lot more fun to let everyone involved have that same element of surprise, I think.
Oh, I definitely agree. This is going to be an absolute joy. We see Tybalt going to Mysidia. It looks like free characters are on. So getting an Edward and a Palom.
Ooh, very nice. A Rosa and a Palom, that's enough to get you through so much of the game, even without as long as you don't have to run into like a Valvalis or maybe a an Ogopogo, just having such great magical power very early is so nice.
Oh, definitely. And Palom, like you said, Palom learning Quake very early on will be key to getting through a lot of this, especially since Cecil, you need to get him online, and then you got to find the right weapons for him. And then, like you said, Heroine Robe on Rosa could carry you through just about the entire game.
Yeah. Also, oh my goodness, looking at Poidrak shopping in Baron, that was a stack of 50 Hourglass 2s for the low, low price of 25,000 gold pieces. You can't buy 4 of them anymore for 25,000 gold. Wait, no, you can buy just 4. They're 6,000 a piece now, compared to what is that, like 500 back then? You can tell that the economy has definitely changed in accordance with the power of some of these J items.
Oh, and you know people are going to abuse those hourglasses. They are an incredible item.
And, you know, given that we have free characters on, I'm wondering if we also have free key items on. I wonder if this is before the days of Mist Dragon hunts. And if so, when is one of our racers going to go peek Bedward and Troya? Free item there, although Tybalt seems to be more on path to head on over to Antlion Cave.
Very, very true. Quickly looting Damsian and then going to head on up, release the Hovercraft, and get another character as well.
Oh yeah, this will be a great reminder that free characters are on if you've been neglecting that. And there's one of those Heroine Robes in the upstairs chest. Rosa is going to get ready to carry the team on physical DPS early on here.
And Smatey finds an Elven Bow for sale, and Rex is trying to get that item dupe glitch. Tybalt finds a Rydia up in Damsian, so I don't think the summons for Hobbs are available here, are they?
No, you'd only get a Fire 1 spell by going there. However, given some of the stuff we're seeing in shops, like, I mean, we've seen Samurai Bows and Elven Bows and Crystal Swords. A Crystal Sword for 10,000 gold for Smapey. Okay, forget that Excalibur we mentioned. Let's just roll with that. Anyway, point is that it wouldn't surprise me if we were to see maybe Bahamut or Leviathan for sale either, given that we're seeing Crystal Swords in shops.
That Crystal Sword's going to be very, very nice. Smapey now heading into the underwater passageway, and that's, well, free character with a cane. That's a nice pickup.
Yeah, and Scala pointing out in chat, I think someone mentioned earlier too, that there is no toggle option. Encounters are just on in this version of the game. So that is a good thing about it only being base K flags. They're not going to have to worry about evading a whole bunch of lunar encounters early on. Although I don't see a P flag either. So if there isn't a pass, this may be a version where the only pass is in a shop, in which case you definitely hope to find that. You don't want to have to walk the moon and run away from countless encounters. Leave that for people running No 64. Speaking of which, I am sad to see Exodon in the spectatorship instead of doing a 64 floor hierarchy glitch to get upco and just win the game at the start. Hopefully we'll get him in the Friday night community race.
Well, then that would be interesting to see. It looks like Rex is going to be our first runner to go to Troya and take a look at that bedwork.
Excellent, excellent. And Board pointing out in the chat that he forgot a little. Hey, there's the magma key. Oh, if people forget that check and find the hook elsewhere, they could be in for a much rougher time than those who remember Bedward.
Oh, that's going to make things very interesting. But we see a couple people going into Mysidia getting that Palom and Edward as well. So definitely not a bad pickup there.
Oh, yeah. And Board pointing out in chat, I made a technical error when building this 0.1.4 seed. So, pulling up the heck. Hopefully, we're not going to have to do a restart right out the gate. I guess we'll know shortly. Hopefully, it's still completable and people don't have soft locks, hard locks, all kinds of locks. So, fingers crossed everything's on the up and up insofar as this Ancient of Seeds is on the up and up.
And it looked like Poijak just bought crystal armor for 10 GP.
10 GP. That's a pretty good deal. I'd take that deal.
I mean, you've already got a Cecil crystal armor. Why are you not going to be able to take advantage of Berserk? It's still really good armor.
Board face in the chat. Let's just say I'm not exactly sure how this ROM exists. Apparently, Free Enterprise has taken on a consciousness of its own and spawned this from the void to celebrate its anniversary. Free Enterprise is like, remember me, or something, I don't know.
I mean, the vanilla game was held together with duct tape and paper clips, so we take for granted a lot of the things that have been added to Free Enterprise.
And now Tower Sheep in the race channel, blame was officially applied to Boardface, both with a lowercase b and a capital B. So I'm not this one, not tonight. No, thank you.
Oh no, you are a part of the admin team that wished this upon our runners, so...
I mean, it just seemed, you know, a lovely little bit of nostalgia.
Oh no, it's perfect time for some nostalgia.
Rexroll, meanwhile, opening the path on the ground. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure Rex has gotten in too many random encounters, because he got the starting item. He did go over to Troya and get the freebie item. If Rex intends to go the Feymarch route here, he may be in for a little surprise incoming.
I don't think he's gotten into any encounters except for trying to set up an item dupe glitch, so that could be a little bit of a spicy play if he can manage to get through the Feymarch.
Yeah, it's definitely easier if you have a really slow agility anchor. I even see that on modern seeds when I'm hunting for a grind spot in the giant. You have a slow enough anchor, you can usually even get away from back attacks before the pain train starts coming at you. But with this relatively low level, kind of everyone in the same... And Cecil is your agility anchor. It's vanilla agility anchoring. Yeah, gonna be real interesting to see if he can make it through there unscathed.
Very, very true. Though right now that Cecil is a Dark Knight, so his agility is not going to be the greatest.
Yeah. This is kind of interesting too, because all of a sudden Antlion, one of the quickest and easiest key item checks in the modern iterations of the game, you do have to deal with all these fights on your way through. It kind of makes all of a sudden Fabul and Baron significantly faster checks if you have a team that can handle it. And for instance, Poidrak now has a Holy Lance on his Dragoon Cane. Get some of the good other gear going on, and maybe some of these checks you don't really have to deal with.
Just to point out, he got that Holy Spear for his Dragoon. He also just put a curse ring on that Cecil.
Very spicy. Poidrak is loaded for bear this seed.
Very much is, and with that Holy Lance, that cane will do some serious work. I believe he's already been through Damsian, so he probably has that heroine robe for Rosa as well.
Oh yeah, and watch this. Every fight that Poidrak's getting in, he's escaping before the monsters can do a single thing. That curse ring is going to save him a ton of time over the full course of this seed tonight.
It very well can, but if he keeps running into encounters, every couple of steps, that could really slow him down. That's something you have to keep in mind.
Yeah, but everyone's going to be getting these encounters. There's no Moogle Charm for us. There's no toggleable encounters. There's no saves coming your way across the overworld like in Final Fantasy I Randomizer. So this is probably about as good as it gets for him.
But we have 3 of our runners in this Antlion spot. Rex, he is making the play for the Feymarch. Oh, and he's only got the Cecil and Rosa, but it looks like he's done some leveling with them, or some apples.
Well, the Clapper over here doing percentile damages with the with that zap attack. Oh yeah, that's a lot of apples. Oh yeah, apple time is in play between the gold glitch, the GP glitch, and apples and chops. Definitely a way to knock out Zeromus this seed. I like Rex's play, hunting those down. Could make for a very interesting final race to the finish once we are in possession of our crystal and our Zeromus access.
Very, very true. We do see 2 of our runners running into Water Hag in the Antlion. Poidrak first to get those 3 hits in.
Kind of a sad place to find Water Hag, of course. It's only going to take 3 hits to kill no matter where it is. So seeing it at this really easy location is a little, a little heartbreaking. But, Oh, and Rex taking a wipe to a back attack from a Conjurer with the huge Nagas.
Ooh, that's a pink tail.
So speaking of old flags, before there was a no adamants flag for the sake of making competition a little more balanced, you were guaranteed an adamant armor every time you turn in a pink tail. So all of a sudden, these runners who didn't get the magma key, well, finding a hook, not that bad of a proposition anymore.
Very, very true. That pink tail is going to be very nice for the runners that are doing this antline, especially once they find that hook. Adamant armor is just absolutely bonkers with what you can do with it.
Rex putting some of those apples into his Dark Knight, get the HP up a little higher there. Gonna see if he wants to make another run at the Fey March here, or if he's gonna go seek out a... Oh, and a whole big old batch on Rosa too, 2,900 HP. Let's see if... Yeah.
All right, Poidrak and Smapey quickly getting out of that antlion, and it looks like Poidrak's going to start climbing up Mount Hobbs. That's going to be another character potentially for him.
Yeah, already rocking a full team, but some of these characters maybe not having as quite much utility as others. Let's see who is actually up here. Womp.
Yeah, I don't think for these you will go for an Edward.
Yeah, I think that given that apples are a possibility here, that even overpowered Edward strats to solo Zeromus aren't going to really avail you compared to someone who can just go in at quad 9 health and pop HP-based J items. So, second Edward, not going to do you too many favors.
No, very much not going to be very useful here. Rex still trying to make his way through that Fey March. Cecil deciding to take a nap. And Tybalt's been fighting some of these random encounters here in Antlion Cave.
Yeah, I guess wanting a few more levels just for safety, knowing that he's not going to be able to just turn them off and go in the future. So getting the levels on the front end rather than the back end. Rex having a Sand Ruby in the Fey March chest, made it all the way down there, and the reward maybe not quite what he was hoping for.
Rex did take a look at who the bed character was, I believe, but I don't recall seeing it.
And oh my goodness, Rex Raul finding kamikazes for sale in the Fey March for 10 gold pieces apiece. Those cost 2,000 in the modern free enterprise economy. Surprised he didn't buy a bigger stack though. If you want to do apple strats, those kamikazes are immensely good at your Zeromus fight.
Kamikaze apples. That's something we don't see very much anymore, but it's a lot of fun.
Would you like an Avenger for 10 gold pieces, by the way? Because we got Avengers for 10 gold pieces.
Wow. That Crystal Sword Cecil just suddenly looks really, really appetizing.
Yeah, between that and the 100 gold piece Sirens, I don't know which I like better. Honestly, I might like that more than apple seeding. There's a lot of really overpowered options in this early iteration of Free Enterprise.
Oh, we see elements here at the Fabul fight. Not too terribly scary, but Smatey on the Ruby part, that could do some damage.
Oh yeah, doing the multicast Fire 2, multicast Fire 3, multicast Glare. Gets it down though, that Kane is doing really good work for Smatey.
Tybalt just picking up his pink tail from the Antlion, and Rex heading over to Tomra.
Oh no! Rex is about to be very disappointed. The vanilla Job Dwarf text. Just a farmer, nothing fancy here, not in this version.
He tried. We'll give him credit for that.
Yeah, and of course, we knew Rex was going to do that. Rex is the runner who suggested the Job Dwarf as a fun little Easter egg. One of his emotes is the Job Dwarf. So I'm not surprised. It's just a little heartbreaking.
Life staffs and Excaliburs for sale over in Tomra. If you wanted to forge the Excalibur, well, that's just way too much extra work now.
Yeah, there is one good thing about, even with the crystal swords we've seen for sale, buying an Excalibur ain't bad if you do end up having to do your job change with Cecil. Duplication glitch is enabled. It's not just for money. You can also have a big old stack of Excaliburs for an edge to throw, which is also very nice. Protect rings are 6,000 gold. Protect ring only 2,000 gold more than a Paladin helmet. Oh my goodness.
I am very glad to see some of these item cost changes, because this is a little silly, but I'm absolutely loving it.
Meanwhile, the self-summon costs an arm and a freaking leg over here.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, just exploring this for the sake of the shop price differences is entertaining enough for me. I know that makes me sound like an accountant or something, but it's pretty spicy.
Speaking of expensive, Poydrak finds a Bahamut summon.
100,000 GP? I think that's a very fair price. And Iridia now online and ready to do work. Forget the Quack Kid. We summon dragons up in here now.
I mean, would you rather Quake or Mega Flare? I think that's a pretty easy choice to make sometimes. And there's an edge on Ordeal.
Speaking of duplicating a stack of swords for slinging, there we go.
And
hey, you can buy... Do you want to soft lock your inventory? Just buy nothing but stacks of 99 Dark Matters for free in Dwarf Castle. You cannot throw them away because the game thinks they're key items, but you can buy all that you want. 0 GP apiece.
I mean...
Ribbons for 10 gold. Zeus gauntlets for 10 gold. Bandanas for... yeah.
The Zeus gauntlets alone for 10 gold is absolutely insane. That is an incredible piece of arm gear for that Dragoon and Paladin later on.
Oh yeah, and chat reminding us, by the way, that dupes are not on. So even if we could have even if we could wanted to fight that boss fight on Hops for the Edward, wouldn't be able to take him anyway if you already had one in your party. So no duplication glitch, absolutely.
Oh well. I think with some of the characters we've been running into, they're not going to be too upset about not having duplicate character.
Grimoires, 10 gold apiece. You want to summon? We got your summons right here. Oh, this is silly. I think some of the stuff was already balanced and repriced in version 2, specifically in summer, May or June of 2018. There was a massive economy shift. This was when we first saw like Siren prices increase and a lot of other stuff get shaken up a bit. But I think some of these prices, 10 gold piece ribbons, Avengers, 10 gold pieces for anything that I guess wasn't in a shop already. I think that had already been amended before I got into the game that March, so woo. And those early glorious seeds where everything fell before your might.
Tybalt making use of those grimoires, and Smapety running into Odin at the top of Ordeal.
No problems there. This is interesting to see people actually doing ordeals. Again, back before the objective system added in version 4, ordeals was not that great of a check, just because 3 relatively slow bosses. Cecil wasn't that good of a character if you had vanilla agility anchoring. But of course, if you have a crystal sword, I'd probably make this run.
A Crystal Sword Cecil, even if you don't have the greatest agility anchor, it's still a Crystal Sword Cecil. He's going to do a lot of damage. And with item duping those Excaliburs with edge to dart, I don't think there's going to be very much in your way. Poydrak, I think he's going to take whatever his party is, and they're going to have max HP.
Oh yeah, Poydrak here getting set up to do apple strats. A little unfortunate on 2 fronts here. 1, silver apples instead of gold apples. And 2, as was mentioned by Boardface earlier in the chat, this was before Board had accelerated the menus. So these apples are not being consumed nearly as quickly as you can eat them in the modern version. So Poydrak's going to sit here a little while. Oh, you might want to look at your screen, Poidrak. There you go. Probably checking Twitter or something while holding down the A button. I know I've done it.
I think a lot of people are very guilty of just holding on A button and looking away. Smatey makes quick work of that Dark Elf in the back attack.
This is curious, by the way. Honestly, with how slow the appling menu is, I think apple strats are not optimum here. Maybe get a few extra health on some of your characters, but I think the Sirens and the Dragon Eggs are going to be the optimum grind method this game.
Our bed check is just a Sid. With everything available to you, Sid isn't the most appealing character.
Not at all. Tower Key up on Ordeals, by the way. Oh, Silk Webs for 100 gold. Oh, the dream. So Tower Key up on Ordeals. That'll create a nice little double check in Lower Tower of Babel, which I kind of like here, because in the modern version, it's honestly a pretty fair play to go for the top of Lower Babel, the Dr. Lugay spot, without the Tower Key. It's great XP. If you don't get an item, you can reset all the way back down to the bottom. But if you have encounters on the entire way up that tower, yeah, I want that Tower Key before I go into Babel.
Oh, definitely. Random encounters just being on. Tower, especially at some of these lower levels, could be a little scary to go into. And Smatey with his brand new Paladin, the first to complete Ordeals, and Tybalt right behind him heading up Ordeals, and Rex now going into the Antlion camp.
Yeah, so getting a little bit of crossover here. Poidrak still making all of the apple pie in the world. Let's see, how many more stacks does he have here? There's at least 6 on screen. I don't know how many more are scrolled beneath there.
I mean, you can see that menu speed increase for later versions is something, again, you just don't think about and take for granted. And then on top of that, having to do this with silver apples, that is a lot of time investment.
Yeah, agreed. For me, if I had seen that crystal sword, I would be like, okay, let me just have a few little bonus XP, and I would definitely do the 100 gold sirens. It may not be faster, but I would find it at least more mentally stimulating than just waiting for these apples to be eaten. Like, yeah, Poidrak even, I think, gave up on the apples there. I think he's changed his mind about that strategy just because it was getting a little mind-numbing there.
Tybalt popping another Grimoire and gets a Chocobo out of it. That's a little unfortunate sometimes.
Smaby over here dealing with the oh my gosh, this is something subtle that I didn't even notice. I don't think we had the option to hit R to throw items away yet, and that's why everyone's inventory is full of all this garbage.
Ooh, that's actually kind of a big deal, because menu or inventory management is kind of big, especially when, you know, free characters are on. You're going to run into a lot of characters. You might want to keep certain gear, but if you're just getting filled up with, you know, junk.
Yeah, absolutely. And confirmed on Tybalt's screen, getting that Charm Claw up at the final chest on Mount Ordeals. Yeah, there is no R button, throw items away and make up your mind. You open that chest, you're keeping it until you go into your menu or into a shop. Woo!
I also want to point out, Poidrak left Troya and did not check the bedward. It's so rare that free key items is available for people. They just kind of forget about it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the free characters may, you know, spark a memory of that. Meanwhile, though, Smatey has a Crystal Sword Cecil online and ready to start swinging. Smape is about to do work on every remaining boss in his way. I'm excited to see this DPS. Oh, and you can't lock yourself into the trash can mode anymore either. You have to single target each thing with the trash can. Oh, goodness. Yeah, if you want to purge your inventory, definitely find a shop. Doing it in the menu does not look enjoyable at all.
That looks like it's even more just time sink that you just take for granted now. But Tybalt and Poydrak both on ordeals, and Poydrak looked like he did quick work of that.
Hoglaser, oh boy, all the QOL, all the quality of life that we take for granted in the modern age. Yeah. So who wants to go learn the vanilla speed run? Let's do it. I mean, for what it's worth, it's so optimized that you really don't have to deal with a lot of these quality of life things. Like, you're not going to have an overly clogged inventory like we see here. You're not going to be like, oh, I really need this eye drops chest, you know? So you don't have to worry about it. But still, all these lovely little gifts that have accrued from us from Boardface over the years is, yeah, they're delightful.
And speaking of Edge, we found some Murasames in, I think this is Mist on Smapty's side. So that Edge is going to be able to do some work as well.
So although Rex went through Feymarch, I don't think he attempted to go through... Did he go through Sylph Cave to do the first Yang check as well? Or did he forgo that one?
He definitely forgo that one. Just doing a quick little check over in the shops and getting the free key item from Feymarch is all I saw him do down in the underground.
Gotcha. Just wanted to check on that. Yeah, because I can see, speaking of how with encounters on, you really don't want to double dip anywhere. Sylph Cave especially seems like it would be just pain to have to run through a second time. So at this point, we're getting a whole lot of crisscrossing, revisiting things. Smapty looks to be our racer who's going to strike new territory first here. Doing a few more shop checks, has realized just how bountiful all these weapon and armor shops are, and is thus not going to let one slip by unchecked.
No, you definitely want to take a look at these weapon and armor shops in this. Like you pointed out, protect rings are really, really valuable. Zeus gauntlets for 10, ribbons for 10. You know, everything you could possibly want to make any party go online is available to you.
Yeah, and we will note, as has been pointed out in the chat by Board, tonight is the 2-year anniversary of 0.1.0, which was apparently notoriously unstable. Didn't even have some of the quality of life functions that this version 0.1.4 had. Crashed all the time. So this was the earliest really stable version that Board was comfortable bringing back for the community race tonight. And huge shout out to Board for digging into the archive and bringing it back for all of us. Thank you again.
And Smapty with that twin harp, looks like he's going to go to Cave Magnus. That's another dungeon I would not be looking forward to doing, more so because all the random encounters and you're going to be paralyzed.
Yeah, better check that equipment before you run in here. Or at least make sure someone has removed all their metallic gear.
And Poydrak back to using some apple.
Oh, goodness. There you go, Smapty. First encounter, everyone had iron gear on of one kind, metallic gear on. Insta-perished. It's like, oh yeah.
It's just, again, one of those things we take for granted now.
So, taking a little bit of gear off of Palom to make sure someone is alive to run away.
Just need one. Tybalt now at the very top of ordeals, taking on this karate. Shouldn't be any problem.
Smapty gets a back attack, and the kid does not get pummeled by the Panthers, so that's a good start.
Ooh, this Cave Magnus, to me, it would be really scary, especially if you don't have like 2 or 3 party members at lower levels that aren't able to or are able to run away. If you only got one and that poor squishy little kid gets knocked out.
Yeah, Chad over here contemplating some of the other, fun little Easter egg features that we do have in modern versions. Twin Heart music, Zeromus sprites. I will note this flag set does not have a Z on the end of it. And for the longest time, admittedly, you had to enable the Z flag rather than disable it. So we may be seeing a vanilla Zeromus tonight. It's a grand old sprite, one that we've not seen in a long, long time in a community event. I think the last time was probably when Nirm was running one of the Seeds of the Week last year and did one called Blasphemy, which had a vanilla Z flag enabled. So I think once a year we can have a vanilla Zeromus without breaking down. Maybe?
Oh, we definitely need to give homage to the vanilla Z sprite occasional.
Nice little insta-death at the first phase of Dark Elves. Maybe like, oh yeah, I do have Iron Gear on everyone. Let me put this ring back on. I'm going to go silent for a bit and see if we're getting vanilla music or if this was late enough in the life to actually get some randomized tunes. Be right back, chat. Oh, fantastic. Harp music actually included in the game from the very first iteration, 0.1.0, and Board kept it a secret until people actually went there and listened to it. Genius.
That is perfect, and can't go wrong with the Final Fantasy X theme.
Oh, not at all. Got a Leviathan here, won't be too big a challenge with how strong of physical attacks we have. Palom gonna take kind of a sideline role in this fight, but shouldn't be too difficult for this team to claw its way through.
Oh, Cecil hitting for 1400, able to quickly take out that Leviathan. Oh, one other little thing we take for granted, Cecil gaining each level individually.
Oh, that is pretty funny. Poitrak, meanwhile, our first racer to peek into Baron Inn, got an Asura in the second spot here.
I believe Poitrak has that Elven Bow, so this Asura should not be too much of a problem.
Oh, and only a spoon for our musical reward. This is well before the days of Edward being able to equip it, but we do have an edge in the party. It's not completely worthless. Going to be able to throw it for a ton of damage. But Cecil didn't gain quite enough levels there to learn to exit. And Palom does not have warp yet. So luckily, magnetic field is turned off after the music plays, so Smapeedy doesn't have to re-equip to run out of here.
No, you still got to run out. A little unfortunate, but Poitrak gets through the Asura, is rewarded with Luca Key.
All the vanilla glitches are enabled, of course, including the warp glitch, so that Luca Key not going to see a lot of play.
No, definitely not going to see any play with the warp glitch, but and free items on, so you're not going to look for the demist. So Luca Key kind of worthless. It's there as a key item.
Yeah, and chat beating us to the punch. Yeah, Poidrak hasn't done a whole lot of grinding. He's just eaten an awful lot of silver apples. Tybalt, by the way, peeking in to Evelyn Castle here, taking down some of these trap chests. I'm guessing seeking a little bit of bonus XP here. Of course, with the loot we've seen in shops, I really doubt we're going to find anything too thrilling in these trap chests. But the bonus XP can be nice if you're feeling a little behind.
Very, very true. Bonus XP not going to be something you miss, and Poidrak finally goes to check the bedward and now has his magma key, so he has underground access.
Yeah, but he also has that twin heart. Let's see if he decides to go ahead and make the Magnus play while here, or if he wants to seek out other ground to tread.
Definitely going to go straight to the underground. A lot more checks available that way rather than random encounters, Cave Magnus.
Random encounter. Yeah, Cave Magnus definitely sounds extra miserable with that, especially not having a source of exit yet, because actually, his Cecil? No, his Cecil's not high enough to know exit yet. And of course, without doing Zot, Rosa only learns it by doing Zot, sorry. And there are those cheap sirens. A big old stack of 40 ought to do you for this seed.
I mean, 40 sirens will make sure you are definitely Z ready whenever you're ready to grind.
Oh yeah, and even if, again, not sure which XP quality of life flags are implemented, whether this was before the double XP at 10 key items, the bonus XP for characters lagging behind the rest of the team, 40 yellow dragon eggs, even at base level XP, that'll get you there.
Or you can always still do the King reuse. Hourglasses are cheap.
Hourglass is very cheap, and Crystal Sword will tear them up, even if you don't have anyone around to cast Weak. Ralthian asking in chat if there were safety checks on bosses on the Hook Seed route. I'm not certain. Boardface can probably give you more details on that. I will say that Valvalis was not added to those safety checks until well after this. So even if there are other bosses on safety, Val is not.
And Val is always an interesting boss to run into. But Smapety, with that tower key, first one to head up the lower Babel.
Yeah, and Poidrak getting 4 coffins to go with those 40 sirens. I think his grind is in order now. He may be regretting those silver apples at this point.
Well, if nothing else, those silver apples will ensure any character he has enough HP for Zeromus.
That's true. Why bother healing during big bangs when you can just face tank 3 of them?
And Poidrak now also finding those 10 GP ribbons, the 10 GP Zeus gauntlets. I mean, that Crystal Sword Cecil looks very terrifying to have to go against.
Absolutely. But Smapety also rocking a very well-equipped Cecil, but is one step ahead of Poidrak on these key item checks. I will note that Poidrak quite cleverly kept Rydia around here. Palom, although he does learn Warp, does not learn it until a significantly higher level than Rydia. So if you want to do this Dwarf Castle Warp glitch, you either have to grind Palom up or have kept that Rydia around.
I mean, but you do have 40 sirens, 40 coffins. You could get Palom up to Warp and Quake and everything you need very quickly. But it definitely looks like Poidrak's just going to go ahead and guns blazing. His 4,000 HP Rydia, 4,000 HP Cecil. I think he's okay for Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, I think he can handle this. The worst fight here to see would probably be Ogopogo in the first spot, just because if you have... Ogopogo's one of the few bosses that really punishes apple use. If you've grinded up your HP to enormous numbers, but you don't have the healing to back it up, and you all of a sudden start taking it in chunks of 25% and 50% at a time, it can be hard to heal yourself faster than the damage comes out. That being said, though, Octomammoth, no worries.
Also to point out, Poydrak has a stack of elixirs. I don't think your healing matters.
Oh, well, yeah, if you have a... Oh, we're elixirs 10 gold this seed as well. Oh my goodness. Yeah, don't have to worry about keeping up with that healing then.
And you still, just in case, you still have Bahamut ready. So Smapey taking on this Pale Dim at the top of the tower, I believe, and Poydrak taking on Octomam. Tybalt now over in Troya, and Rex is giving us our second listen to the music.
I trust Rex has properly equipped his team to not have to deal with the metallic field. Yes, okay, good. Poydrak gaining so many levels, and another one, and another one, and another one by one.
Now a lot of runners understand the vanilla speedrun, how it feels when you do your level grinds.
Oh yeah.
Second fight is gonna be a Baigen.
And just another Cecil here. No new additions to the team. By the way, Smapey relying heavily on equipment here. This Pale Dim fight, looking at those HPs, kind of a high-level spot compared to what Smapey's rocking here. But the gear gonna get through this fight eventually anyway. But Kane not swinging for a lot of damage. Cecil doing most of the work at level 1, mind you. Kind of a cheeky play at this. I'm glad it was a boss he could take down, though, instead of having to reset. And there we go. Gonna see what this top of the tower holds.
Poydrak also getting through that Baigen roughly at the same time.
A little bit of an encore incoming here, courtesy of Rex Raul.
Smapey getting a rat tail while Poydrak gets the pan. Both pretty nice key items to find right now.
Oh yeah, each one getting a little more. Rat Tail you still need a hook for. Baron Key through Sealed Cave, but Poydrak gets a double check on Sheila now if he can make it through the Sylph Cave unharmed.
I mean, he's still got the HP, he's got stack of elixirs. I think the Sylph Cave isn't very scary for him at this point. Smapey, though, with that rat tail, like I said, still got to find the hook, and that is one of our big key items still at large.
Yep, gonna get a twofer though in the tower here. Gonna be able to knock out the tower key room on the way downstairs and get another item there.
Another key item we're still looking for is that darkness crystal. We still need a way to the moon.
Absolutely, and I think we've seen every item shop by now, and I've not seen a pass in any of them. Now, the pass is an item in the vanilla game, so it may yet be in a shop. But of course, we don't have access to Evelyn Cave, nor do we have access to the Hummingway shop on the moon yet. I think that I would definitely want to check that Hummingway shop if I find a Darkness Crystal, just in case. Walking the moon is not appealing at all, given that this, again, was before we could toggle encounters.
But does the pass actually work as a shortcut? That's a question.
Well, Antidel in the chat is digging into the old changelog. Maybe Antidel will get a good answer for us shortly. Oh, well, Well, this is version 0.1.4, and a bug was fixed that could cause the pass to not appear in any shop. So given that Board went out of his way to make the pass guaranteed in a shop in 1.4, I'm guessing it warps you to Zeromus.
So we definitely want to look for the past. There's still another shop you didn't mention, and that's Kokel's Forge.
Oh, true, true, true. That would be a very cheeky place for it to be. And we have found an entire slew of key items, but neither darkness nor crystal. Kind of a like one of the things I remember from the version 2 was how frequently you would get a fairly jetty seed. You know, you'd get a starting darkness crystal to have access to a grind immediately. You get a starting crystal and just desperately try to find a way to grind and get to Zeromus. Everything's staying pretty well hidden this seed.
That's something we don't have very much of anymore. Is just find the crystal, find a way to Zeromus, grind and get done. Now it's kill Val, kill Wyvern, turn in the pan. All these objectives we love and enjoy, and
That makes me think. I have a fun little flag set. I think I'm going to submit to. There's a new forum, by the way, for those of you who haven't noticed. It's in both feedback and ideas and up in announcements. If you have an idea for a fun flag set for an upcoming community race or seat of the week, put it in there. If the restream team likes what they see, it may be seen in one of the upcoming weeks. I'm going to submit one where the only objective to get the crystal is to use the pass door in Troya. That's it. I'm going to give people the jet seed that they've been craving.
Smapty finding this Ogo in the cannon room. Thankfully doesn't have very much HP, but you can see, doesn't matter. Ogo is always going to be the no pro.
Yeah, that was probably a little bit of a booty clenching moment for Smapey there, being left with only a Cecil with only 100 HP. I know I would probably be a little panicking there. Always take a quick peek at that boss before you take that step up. You can heal your team up before activating the fight.
Poydrak now in the Fey March and warping out. Tybalt taking on this Leviathan, giving us our third listen of the music. And Smapty getting his way out of the lower Babel, making sure to heal up his party before making the descent. Poydrak looked like he was debating on doing a little bit of a grind, but deciding to go do Sylph Cave now.
Probably realized that if he does find the Darkness Crystal and no pass available, like say Darkness Crystal into Pass on Moon, maybe he thinks he can get a better grind out of some Moon fights. Notably, one of my favorites, if I do have Coffins and Moon access and Sirens but no Underground access, there's a great triple Warlock fight that you can freeze and vulnerable to death, can life glitch each of them, and it's even beefier XP than these Dragon Eggs.
So many choices, so many choices.
Skull pointing out that the nuke glitch is active. Any runner with the crystal can actually multi-target a group of enemies with it, and you can cause the game to execute some, I believe, arbitrary codes with this. Shortly after I started playing, Nirm actually used the crystal nuke glitch to warp to the grind spot here in the underground without an airship and just got soft lock there. It's a pretty fun screenshot. Anyway, Smapey getting this cutscene exiting the tower, about to give us a peek at what our tower key reward is. Maybe it's a hook to go along with that rat tail?
It's the Earth Crystal.
Oh, another dungeon that I would hate to walk without toggling encounters off.
At least at this point, Smakety will have the level, so it shouldn't be too bad of a climb up Zot, but it's still a little bit of time.
It's maybe landing one square farther away from a couple squares away from the door and actually having to run from an encounter. Oh, I love toggleable encounters so much.
Something you just kind of forget. Sometimes you just one step away and you just get that encounter.
Podrak here going to check the Sheila value 1 and 2. Behind Sheila number 1, we have the hook. Oh, that would go great with that rat tail Smapety got.
And there's darkness for Sheila too.
Ooh, so Poydrak now only needs a crystal to be in go mode. He has access to every shop if he wants to hunt for a past, again, except for Kakol. So he can either go with the play that takes him into Lower Babel for the 2 key items there with that tower key, or he could go after the Baron key. Wondering, Oh, did he not do Twin Harp yet?
He has not done Twin Harp, so probably our 4th runner to do so. Yep, heading up to the Chocobo Forest. Tybalt finally making his way underground, and Smapety now in the Fey March himself.
So we're getting a whole bunch of crossovers here. Not going to get any really new info quite yet. Anyone who has a tail can only turn it in by getting the hook. And if you're going to go on the path that gets you the hook, well, you're also going to get access to Baron Castle. So gonna have a little crisscrossing here going on right now, which I think might be a good time to talk about the Football Gauntlet. Val, what's the Football Gauntlet?
Oh, the Football Gauntlet, and I'm pretty certain you're not talking about the boss, is the tournament that's coming up, and signups are still open, I believe. It is a 1v1 tournament starting with a Swiss round going into the bracket rounds. Flag sets for the Swiss, pretty simple, 5 objectives. You just gotta get the objectives, get the crystal, beat Zeromus in a one-on-one setting.
Yeah, and there will be a flag jump after we go from Swiss to the brackets phase to make things a little harsher on people. Should be a pretty fun time. Should see some really high level play between both runners. You know, even if someone does take a wrong turn, we're going to see just excellent play by everyone in this tournament. I'm really excited to see these 1v1 matches just to be able to hone in on, you know, the nuances of each individual runner's strategy.
Oh, it's definitely going to be very interesting, and I'm definitely looking forward not only to helping out with the tournament, but competing in it as well.
Absolutely. So Poydrak here, doing us a solid, giving us our 4th and final taste of that Final Fantasy X music for the evening. Smapety gonna go validate his seat as well. Yep. I am a farmer. Best line in the game. Actually, I did just realize that given that this was before Rivers and Boardface went through and redid all the NPC text, either to be humorous or to contain, you know, important tutorial information, that means that the frog in the northwest of Troya Castle still also will have its vanilla text as well.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've talked to that frog. And Tybalt, he is going to do his egg grind now.
Now, does Tybalt buy a stack of coffins, or is he just going to do it the old melee way? Looks like just swinging and hitting. Scrambling those eggs.
Spapety, you're not going to be able to get into the castle with that landing spot.
I wonder if this was before we also had the ability to slow the airship down with the Y button. Given that you have to manually speed up, I wonder if the airship slowdown had not been added yet, in which case that would explain some of these more wayward landings by our racers.
Very, very true. Something I didn't. Oh, once again, just something we take for granted nowadays. Rex, the next of our runners to take on this Ogo fight, and Poidrak now taking on Leviathan.
All the nope ropes, all the danger noodles, all at the same time.
But is Leviathan really a danger noodle?
Not tonight. Not with this gear, not with this loadout, not at this spot. Not at this time of the year, localized entirely within Cave Magnus. And Mentatsu confirming that one of our racers, not featured on the main restream tonight, but community admin Natara is participating in this race as well, and has been complaining about the lack of airship slowdown while running the race as well. So good to confirm. Thank you, Mentatsu.
But isn't Natara a vanilla speedrunner? She should be used to that by now.
Oh, got her. Actually, lately she's been speedrunning on Boardface's quality of life patch for the vanilla game. So if you really want to replay the vanilla game but have a lot of these free enterprise quality of life improvements, there's a patch for that too.
It's amazing what some people just out of love for a game will do. But Poidrak, the only one with that hook, gonna be able to turn in that pink tail, will have an adamant armor, or going to go into the Eblon underground.
Probably double checking, making sure he doesn't miss a pass anywhere. And Smatey, by the way, just looted the absolute saddest Troya treasury I think I've seen since I started playing the game. There was like a soft potion and some darkness arrows and a short bow. Oh my goodness. Like this is just, it's so sad given especially how the S Pro, the T Pro flag now bumps the value of there because it's a place that a lot of people weren't going to anymore past a certain point in the game. So to add that temptation, well, this seed, not tempting at all. Not tempting at all. Hey, look. There's the pass.
So Poidrak now has his pass. Just needs to find the crystal. So probably take a look at the Baron key.
I would think so at this point. I think, yeah, Poidrak can either do that or he can go up lower Babel. Those are his only two remaining options. It's great to find the pass there. It means that you don't have to spawn the whale at all. The time it takes with the darkness crystal, cutscene time, both to spawn the whale, fly to the moon. Even if the pass were on the moon, you'd still have to then fly back to Earth. So Poidrak doing that check first rather than the moon shop is going to save a lot of minutes on his final finish time. Notably, though, if it is the rat tail up here, or the earth crystal that's gating the way, Poidrak's in good shape. If it's the Baron key, he's yielding a little bit of time to his competition right here.
Very, very true. I can't fault him for this, though. It is two pretty quick checks where Baron can take a little, is only one check. Rex looks like he did a little bit of a grind, going to continue on with his checks, and Smatey is in Zot.
So Smatey going to be the first of our racers to give us a look at the Earth Crystal reward. Smatey, of course, doesn't have access to the moon yet, so this could be a very interesting situation where we in the booth and in the chat are in fully aware no mode, provided, of course, Smatey is rewarded for this. Could be interesting. Poidrak making a safety save up here before the top boss, which I get. Having to walk through here with all the encounters on, I don't mind taking the few extra steps to avoid any chance of doing it a second time.
Or if, you know, without knowing what the items are, resetting out after seeing it.
Oh yeah. Poidrak won't be able to turn down this rat tail though, not having already found the hook.
Oh, definitely. The rat tail is something we still don't know still don't know what it is. Smaty finds the Kaipo fight in the first fight of Zot, so pretty free fight. Coffin's gonna take out the officer. Flame spell from Edge should take out these soldiers pretty quick.
Oh yeah, easy peasy fight. That's one thing about this seed. Like, we've not seen anything too terribly rude here. Peldim fight up here at the top of Lower Battle was slow for some racers just because of coming in at really low levels. Ogopogo gave us a brief scare with a couple of people. But other than that, all the really rude fights seem to not be rearing their ugly heads tonight. Where's me some Golbez? Show me some Valvalis. Where's the Wyvern?
Golbez on Baron Throne.
Ooh, you know, I mentioned the Wyvern, and Wyvern on Baron Throne is... Oh, well, wait. Oh, this is before that sprite was changed. Never mind. Wyvern on Baron Throne is always lovely, because you do that first fight, and then you can just rush on in. And we are in a tricky agility situation with Vanilla Agility Anchoring and Cecil. So a Wyvern on the Baron Throne could be a real nasty shock for a lot of runners tonight.
Oh, very, very true. That Cecil gaining levels, you know, his agility gets pretty high as he gains enough levels. Anyone that does know the vanilla run, though, would know where his agility sits at. That would be really good for the party.
Yeah, well, the main thing is that at these moderate levels, he and Kane are probably going to be the fastest on your team. So if that just makes it really tricky for you to get anyone up to high enough agility to get those Star Veils off. So it's not that he's too fast, it's just that he's still faster than pretty much all your mages.
Probably makes Edge a little bit more valuable if you do happen to run into that wipe.
Yep. Poidrak has the tail, gets an encounter, 2 steps trying to get out of here. I love toggle encounters so much.
But now they have that new flag where if it's a back attack or surprise, well, you still have to run into encounters, as you know all too well.
Oh yeah. Just start counting them up. Smaevdy has cleared the second fight here in the Tower of Zod. Gonna be giving us our first insight into a new key item very soon. I imagine the next new one we'll see will be Poidrak turning in the rat tail. So we're gonna have a couple of little bits of new information incoming very soon.
Also to note, the fight that Smaky took on was Mylon and friends, and there was a Tella and Yang at the top of tower.
Tella would have quite a bit of utility here. We have done ordeals, but I imagine with the gear and the characters that our racers are rocking, not really feeling that important. And only a package for Zot. So we now know that we're down to the Baron Key and the Rat Tail. Very few options left, and I'll be curious to see where Poidrak goes after the Rat Tail if it is not the Crystal. He'll have to decide between Earth Crystal for Zot and Baron Key for, well, Baron.
That's an interesting choice to have to make, but I think just based on what I like, Baron would be a little more appealing. It's a little bit faster of a check. Unless, of course, you know, there's something cruel like Wyvern sitting there at the on the throne. But we know the first fight, which is just dolls.
Yeah. Poidrak's encounter luck here being a little rude. He just wants to check the rat tail. That's all.
Smapty finally taking on this Fabul Gauntlet in the Baron Inn. Definitely didn't definitely wanted to wait as long as possible on that. That 6 fights does, even with, you know, some decent levels on his party, still does take a little bit of time.
Oh yeah, easy check, but very, very slow check.
And these encounters are just being absolutely rude to Poidrak. Rex is over in Agert, and Tybalt is taking a look at the top of tower now.
Yeah, a little more crisscrossing. I wonder what piece of gear Rex was seeking there, peeking in an armor shop. Maybe he is looking for a cursed ring now, or was Rex one of our racers who had one early? I can't remember if it was Rex or Smapty who had one at the start.
I know Poidrak has one. I think I've seen one in Smapty's inventory. I don't recall if Rex has one or not.
Gotcha. That may be exactly what he's searching for here. Starting to realize Cecil is my agility anchor. Golbez and Wyvern are still in play. This would be a great addition to my loadout. Or it could be something else. We can ask him, of course, in the post game.
But Poidrak now with that rat tail, that hook, and still hasn't turned into pink tail as far as I know. Gonna V-line straight for that. Very quick and easy check. And if this is the crystal, Poidrak will be in go mode.
Go mode with an adamant armor to boot. Ugh. I almost feel sorry for Zeromus. Where did I put my rat tail? Hey, there we go.
And there's the solution to the seed. Poidrak at go mode at 1 hour, 9 minutes, and about 25 seconds.
Yeah, and has, of course, a huge stack of sirens, a huge stack of coffins, has amazing gear on the team, has a bonus, like, what, 4,000 HP on everyone. Poidrak's going to have no difficulty clearing the seed. The only question is if someone else not in our featured restream is going to beat him to it.
And it looks like Poidrak is not going to waste any time with the leveling. He's got a Crystal Sword Cecil. He's got 4,000 HP. He's got a Curse Ring on that Cecil as well. This Zeromus, with even just the HP, shouldn't be too bad.
Oh yeah, with a stack of elixirs, he doesn't need to grind. Oh, he's going to even do more apples. Okay. If you have a stack of elixirs, this is more than enough HP, of course. Zeromus can't do more than 2,700 on a Big Bang. So, boom, you're already able to survive 2 full-powered ones. Plenty of elixirs to heal up while your Zergers do work. But honestly, this was something that was always a little bit tricky back in even the version 2.x days. And that was the question of, this may be the bare level at which I can beat Zeromus, but does gaining a few more levels make it substantially faster? And honestly, with how much damage you can get this Cecil and Kayn pumping out with a few more levels, I would be taking the eggs here, I think, over the apples. But I just generally like eggs more than I like apples in real life. I'm biased, I admit it.
I just don't know if I could sit there and hold down A long enough to do that, whereas I could easily get a couple levels and just rush straight to Zeromus. But we're not the ones racing, they are, so they have a different perspective than we do sometimes. But
Yeah.
a Kayn with near max HP or max HP shouldn't have too much trouble with this Z.
And of course, if you have kamikazes, if you have some of those other J items, which yeah, you can definitely skip the refill here. You can get to 9999, do kamikazes 4 times to take out just shy of 40,000 HP. If you have someone a little less than that, you can even get right to that 45,000 mark. And then use the crystal or something else that doesn't damage the Zeromus to force it to counter nuke itself. So lots of ways to do this fight, but I just know that when I see a crystal sword and an adamant armor, I know what I like.
I'm with you on that one. A crystal sword adamant armor Cecil is very, very good. Rosa with, you know, currently 8,000 HP. You're gonna get through this fight. And Rex, finally launching that hovercraft. Smatey, coffining up some eggs.
So Smaby getting the grind out of the way already. Not in go mode yet. Still missing both pieces of the puzzle. We know that they are, well, kind of both gated by the hook. The real appealing pieces are both gated by the hook.
I mean, if you want to, you can certainly use that darkness crystal and go to Zeromus. It's definitely it's definitely viable. But I think I'd be looking for a pass if I could.
Rex about to be in go mode as well. Question is, how does Rex want to approach his Zeromus fight? And is he going to go peek Eblin for the pass?
Well, first he's going to have a single step random encounter, so... Very interesting seed, though. You needed to do the free key item from Bedward into Dwarf Castle to get the pan, to get the hook, the rat tail from top of tower, and the passes in Eblon Cave. And it looks like that's where Rex is going to go check, is Eblon Cave.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it kind of made you go all over the underground this seed. Twin Heart music not required. Ordeals technically not required beyond making Cecil a powerhouse. So yeah, lots of ground having to be covered here, which is honestly kind of surprising for it being only a base K level flag. The Feymarch bosses, Odin, Bahamut, none of them could have had a key item. None of the lunar spots could have had a key item. It was all just these original spots, and we still had to do quite a bit of a hunting to get all our goodies.
Sounds like the perfect seed for those that really do not like Feymarch or the moon.
Oh yeah.
Smatey on the right track now, taking on this Beigen in Dwarf Castle, and I believe Tybalt's already done that as well, so he has everything he needs to get to go mode, just needs to get to go mode.
Absolutely. Poydrak, meanwhile, has finished his apple time. Save the game, and let's see how he plans to deal with this Zeromus fight. I'm interested to see these strats. Like I said, I didn't see a lot of the really handy J items for an Appleseed style fight. So I'm wondering what exactly the game plan is here. Should be cool to see.
Well, I definitely saw 4 characters at quad 9, so I think Poydrak, regardless of what strategy he's going to go with, shouldn't have too much trouble with this C5.
And of course, provided this is an actual feature of the early 0.1.4 iteration of the game, there's a question that we like to ask as we approach this final boss fight. Valis, you curious about anything tonight?
I am curious as to whose butt we're going to kick tonight. Is it going to be a nice scoop of vanilla, or is it going to be a wonderful surprise?
I'm trying to get a good peek. Oh, okay. Poydrak has a huge stack of kamikazes. He actually has 50 of them. Does he have any of the other percentage-based items? I mean, it's okay if he doesn't. You can just do, other reflect strats. So Poydrak looks to be going to be counting these HPs, gonna be skipping the refill, using J items and apples to finish this fight. So Poydrak going to give us full-on apple strats. I wonder if any of our other racers are going to use a different technique to deal with Zeromus. Rex is right behind him, and I didn't see what level Rex got to.
Looks like he's in the 30s. He's got some apples as well.
Yeah, going to be seeing even more apple time up here on Rex's screen, it looks like.
And our crystal is thrown.
The die is cast. And it is vanilla. Enjoy your one dose of vanilla a year, Chad. Enjoy the classics.
Got 2 Star Veils up on both Rydia and
Looks like Poidrag intends to get those last. So let's talk a little bit about the Zeromus sprite. Or pardon me, the Zeromus fight, not the Zeromus sprite. The sprite, there it is. Look at it. So Zeromus, because they couldn't make a fight with more than 65,000 some odd HP, refills its HP at a certain point in the fight as a reaction to taking damage past a certain amount. However, reaction scripts in this game do not activate if damage is reflected onto the target. So the gist of these Appleseed Kamikaze strats is you get right up to that refill point, and then any subsequent damage you do to Zeromus, you do by reflecting it at him. And then once you have enough buffer to reach that final bit of HP, you can go back and use another Kamikaze, Elixir Kamikaze combo to finish that off that 61,000 HP? 61, 63, 60 something. You'd think I'd know that, but I always forget it and then have to rememorize it the next week. So in case you're wondering exactly what Poidrag is doing this fight, that's kind of the strats in play here.
Tybalt, he is taking on one of the fights in the Fey March. Guess he doesn't realize that these won't contain a key item.
Yeah, I mean, CPU can be used as a curious grind option. Attackers and defenders do give decent XP each time they're revived. But yeah, base K flag, no key items. We do have a first place finisher, by the way. I don't even recognize this name. Looks like we have a new racer to the community who has come in first tonight. Beerner beating the competition down with a 1 hour, 19 minute, 13 second finish. GG's to Beernerd.
GG, well played. First time I've seen that name, so obviously knew what he was doing. But I'm always happy to see new racers in the community. Rex,
Oh, yeah.
our second racer into the Z fight, getting, don't know what his HP levels are, but he definitely had a nice stack of apples, so shouldn't have too much trouble with this fight as well.
Poidrag here using the crystal to do no damage, but still draws those reflections. Gonna let Zeromus work on his own HP here to about 1,500 to 2,000 per nuke.
Smakedy now having his own crystal, about to turn in his own pink tail as well. And Rex is in the Zeromus fight proper now.
Rex, by the way, didn't go nearly to those number of levels. I mean, number of HP with apples. I'm wondering if Rex, well, Rex does have an Edward. Could be seeking to do Eddie strats here instead of sheer apple strats. Could just intend, you know, there is that edge. Maybe he has a whole stack of Excaliburs to throw. Lots of possibilities for Rex here. Let's see how he tackles this.
Interesting to see these different strats that the runners are going to use based on what they found, and mostly found in shop.
Poidrag reactivating the Star Veils after the black hole, wants to make sure that all these counter nukes get bounced right back, doesn't want to waste a single point of damage here, nor have to worry about healing anything other than the big bangs. Couple more nukes getting reflected here.
Also, on Rex's side, he has the Cecil and the Edge both berserked.
Interesting. Cecil actually doing very respectable damage here. Edge, likewise, doing very good damage. So Rex here, not going to have, I don't think, any troubles wrapping up this fight with these HP totals. So yeah, should be in good shape.
Should be in good shape and still has a stack of elixirs himself, so shouldn't have any trouble with the Z.
Yeah. The main concern is that this Cecil is going to be going pretty quickly, and thus you're not going to see the sheer wreckage of Zeromus you can in modern versions, where all your Zerkers are going 3 powerful swings per Big Bang. Cecil and Zeromus will be going roughly the same speed here. Thus, you know, he'll still get through the fight, no difficulties. But it will be a little, it won't be quite as impressive as modern Zerker trios.
Oh, very true. That Cecil agility anchor does affect things. But there's the flash on Poydrak's side. Poydrak takes second place with a time of 124 even. And Zilch right behind him with a 124.06. GG to both of them.
And we'll see if we can get Poydrak in here for an interview shortly. And Rex should be wrapping up fairly soon, too.
And speaking of Poydrak, we are joined by him. GG, well played tonight.
How do you like my strategy that I made up on the fly?
Hey, it was a really good hybrid strat, combining the best of Appleseed with the best of Eddie strats. I kind of dug it.
Yeah, I thought, well, I could go and do a grind, but I found these apples. They were really cheap, and, well, why the heck not?
You see, I was tempted. I would have been tempted to do the other thing just because of how slow it takes to eat apples on this older version of Free Enterprise.
You're telling me?
Yeah, and that brings me to my next question. Which quality of life feature did you miss the most tonight?
Encounter, none. Sorry, but there were so many encounters. I was like, yep. I know it's a completely different game, but Final Fantasy Legend and 2 for you in Venerable, you say yeah, that was fun. This is going back further than before I started the game. This is going way back, and it's nice to revisit that. One treasure chest, by the way, rat tail chest. Go me! Yeah, that was really fun though. It's nice to just step back. I've been wanting to just get my mind clear of things that are going on in this game, and this was a very nice distraction.
This was definitely a blast from the past, and like you, I wasn't around for this old of the randomizer, but it's always a joy to see, you know, how things were before we got a whole.
Yeah, and how things have changed. Whose idea was it to put a crystal sword for 10,000 gold, by the way?
I mean, I'm guessing that originally, when this was made, Board just wanted to put in some value for things that would, by default, sell for 1 gold, or just didn't have a price in the US version because they were dummied out. But it was definitely really fun, the entire seed, to see these old shop prices, 100 gold sirens, 500 gold hourglasses, just the sheer variety of things that had changed. Did you find the 10 gold Avengers?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I found 2 of I found them in Feymarsh and just bought 2 of them. I didn't really need more than that because I did do away with Edge. I was considering taking him, but I just thought, you know, trying stuff is just too easy. we've got this Cecil. We've got there's going to be. I've found a crystal sword. There's going to be Excalibur somewhere. And I just thought, no, let's just do it without him. And yeah, it didn't look back really.
Not looking back, definitely got you second place. Just very well played overall. Any final thoughts on this?
Just really, this is just showing how far the game has come, how many changes have been made to it, and it's a credit to Broadface, Ace, and the rest of the development team to how they've kept it together throughout these 2 years. It's probably not been an easy track for them, but they've stuck with it. They've even from this, you can see that yes, it's rough around the edges, but there's the beginning of something, and it's grown into what we have now. So I would like to thank them first and foremost for the 2 years that we've had of this randomizer, and just encourage them to stick with it and continue bringing up the quality, because they've just done a bang up job, and thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Poitrak. GG's again on your second place victory tonight. Very well played. Glad to have you racing again.
Yeah, have a good evening, everyone.
Take care. Quick update on the race at large before we continue on. We did have a whole lot of finishers after Poitrak. Poitrak sniped Zilch by a paltry 6 seconds. So close. Zilch in third place with a 1:24.06. Dusty Griff in fourth with a 1:25.43. Pizza in fifth with a 1:25.51, just an 8-second difference between them. Korek finishing in sixth with a 1:28.24, just 7 seconds ahead of, you saw it on screen, Rex Raul seventh with a 1:28.31. We'll get him here in a moment, but Greg McSmatey did not go check Evelyn for the pass. Walking the moon, going to be a nasty encounter rate on the way down.
Very, very true. But we are now joined by Rex. GG, well played tonight. What did you think of this blast from the past?
Well, it's been a while. I'll just put it that way. I think I've definitely run on these flags in the past, though, because I came in pretty close after it started. So, like, not the first wave of people, but pretty soon after that.
So I asked Poitrak this. I'm gonna ask every racer this tonight. What is your favorite quality of life improvement in the last 2 years that you did not get to enjoy tonight?
Oh, it's got to be those encounters. Being able to turn them off, that was rude. That was very rude. So that's what I'd say. But I mean, all of them are just like, you just don't even realize it until you miss it. The ability to slow down the airship to get them in for a target landing, that's huge too.
Yeah, we in the commentary booth didn't even notice that was an issue at first until we saw people start land. Like, we're getting a lot of landings, multiple steps, because people would land a few steps away and then get an encounter while trying to enter their location, and that's when it hit us up here in the booth. So yeah, that's one of those subtle ones, but it looked like that hand in hand with the encounters.
Yeah, and trying to land at Toroya was not fun with just the one spot too. So.
But not being able to control the airship aside, still played very well. What was your thought process for your strategy for the Zeromus?
Well, it was kind of what you saw. Like, I knew where elixirs were, so I just buy a bunch of elixirs to heal. I still had enough silver apples to get people up. Like, I was hoping to find a cane so I'd have another good berserker in my party. Because I had bought 2 Avengers when I saw them, so I was hoping to find a cane, and it just didn't happen. So I'm like, okay, I'll just roll with Palom and Edward as chemists and use the other 3 for DPS, and it worked out pretty good. I mean, it wasn't the fastest fight, but I think it would be faster than if I tried to apple everybody up and then went either kamikazes or lit bolts. So, yeah.
And there was a Kane in Watery Pass. A couple of
Yeah.
our racers got him. Poidrac ended up using just pretty much outright Apple strats with a little bit of, not actually Eddie himself, but Edward style strats thrown in, reflecting those final nukes. So
Yeah,
we have great variety of strategies in play tonight. It's really cool to see.
If I didn't have to go through so much of the seed before before finally getting that crystal in that pass, then I might have done something like that. But I had already done several bosses with Cecil, and I'm like, I think at this point, him bashing things with that crystal sword I've got is probably going to be better. So, I mean, it did make it so it was a little awkward, but I had a Dwarf Axe and a Curse String, and just trying to get it so the anchoring was right, since we don't have agility anchoring, I had to use Cecil. And if I'm going to use him as a powerhouse, it was kind of awkward to try to get that. Like, I remember that from the old days, too, where Cecil wasn't just like a stone cold knockout character. Like, yeah. But I mean, I'm just glad that my real strategy was, let's hope that I can remember how to do an item duplicate glitch. And it didn't really work because it took me like 5 times before I remembered exactly what I could do to get all the money.
Well, one advantage of that, though, it let you know very quickly that encounters were not toggleable, at least.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing that I did was go into my customizable, or my config menu, just to remember what's available in there. And I saw that there wasn't an encounters thing. Well, okay, because I'm like, if the default is still off, then I want to turn it on so that I can do, because I was going to do the item duplicate right away. Even if I didn't get it right, I got the like the middle tier one where I can just sell like 400 of them, 400 shadows swords. It isn't as much money as if I did it perfectly right, but it got me to a little bit there. Yeah.
Well, regardless of remembering glitches or not, still put on a very good show. Do you have any final thoughts for tonight?
Yeah, other than the glitch thing, I thought my routing was pretty okay. I was happy with it. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I didn't get lucky and find what I needed to early, but I thought I did pretty good. I did the shopping because I knew it took me a little bit of time before I recognized that like chests were going to be basically complete garbage when I'm just getting bottom tier items and so many of them. So I just went to shops instead, and that got me really set up throughout the rest of the run. And yeah, I'm pretty happy about how I routed everything and I got everything done well. So I'm happy with my finish.
Well, GG's again. Very well played tonight. Val, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. You were sad?
I was going to say, GG, you played very well tonight as well. It's always a pleasure getting to watch you race on stream.
Well, thank you very much. Have a good night, everybody, and thanks for putting on the show.
Meanwhile, we do have Smaby in his Zeromus fight after having walked all the way down the moon. It looks like Tybalt's going to be following as well. I can perfectly understand the lack of a P flag in the listing, making our racers think, well, maybe there's just not one in the seed. So hopefully Tybalt makes it down here relatively as unmolested as Smaby did, ready to handle the Z fight. I believe Tybalt has the levels and should also be able to wrap this up pretty cleanly tonight.
Yeah, Tybalt has done a pretty nice amount of grinding. His characters are a little bit higher level, shouldn't have too much trouble with the Z fight. Smaby had a little trouble getting down all the way to the core, but made it there relatively unscathed. And we also have an 8th place finish, Natara, with a time of 1:34.34. So GG to her.
Compassionate Void in chat. Oh goodness, what game is this Zeromus sprite from? It's a shock to see for sure. I'm usually, when we see Zeromus in this form, it has googly eyes all over it, so...
I could understand a few people not quite remembering the Vanilla Z's. And I absolutely love when I get googly-eyed Zeromus. But Smatey, a little bit of a precarious situation. That Cecil's only got 2100 HP. Edge doesn't even have 2k HP.
And Adamant Armor does a lot of work, but maybe not that much work. The Smatey's in a little bit of a pickle here.
He just threw a Silk Web, and there's the nuke onto Cecil. Does he survive it? Oh, that does not feel good.
I'm pretty sure Smatey took a save on the way down to the Lunar Core. Yeah, so not so bad. These levels in the low 40s, very dangerous. Admittedly, you know, if we had stacks of apples we could throw, just like Poidrak and Rex did, much easier time. If you have adamant armors and ribbons on everyone, an easier time. But I think we've only seen the one this seed, and so this is going to be a very risky fight at these kind of levels.
Very, very true. Zeromus' Big Bang hits really hard, especially if you're not as comfortable nerfing it as some people might be. And with these levels, you do need to make sure you're nerfing those Big Bangs properly.
Absolutely, and nerfing Big Bangs is a very tricky time. You'll see Zeromus shake. That's not the action that sets the spell power. There is an invisible action after the shake before the Big Bang. It's the one right between them, and you have to wait for that action if you want to nerf the Big Bang. With our agility being all wobbly tonight, thanks to having vanilla agility anchoring on and Cecil being forced to take that role, it means that it's going to be very tricky to time a Silk Web or a Heal Potion or the Crystal to drop that Big Bang spell power down. It's a lot easier when you have relative agility 1 strats, when you have multiple Zerkers swinging, and it's just not what the party's offering us tonight.
No, like you said, it's not the easiest thing to do in the world, and with a slightly unusual agility anchor that a lot of runners probably aren't used to, that's gonna be a tall order for you to do if you haven't done it before.
Meanwhile, we do have a 9th place finisher as well. Dr. Cossack has wrapped up the race with a 1:38.59. GG's to Dr. Cossack. And I do want to share one humorous anecdote while our final 2 featured racers are walking the moon. I won't name names, I'm not going to shame anyone, but at least one of our racers tonight got that magma key, remembered the free item at Edward, went right there and got that magma key, and then immediately wiped into the Feymarch Cave before having made a single save at all. Had to go back through the starting cutscene. So we definitely, Boardface and everyone who was behind this seed tonight definitely pulled the rug out from under people tonight.
And it's one that we definitely enjoyed, and greatly appreciative to these runners who are definitely putting themselves out there for us to enjoy. So definitely make sure you're giving all of our runners a follow, and don't forget the rest of the Restream team behind the scenes. You know, Scala Kitty bringing us the Restream itself, and Neon Gray. They are doing an incredible job with the tracking, so thank you both so much for your work tonight as well.
Especially huge shout out to Scala Kitty for keeping this such a delightful secret and springing it on our racers tonight at the last minute. A lot of people, you know, this was definitely a surprise. Everyone in the race channel, while waiting for it to begin, was like, oh, what are we going to have? Are we going to have Dark Matter Hunt? Are we going to have vanilla shops and items? You know, what nastiness do you have in store? Nope, it was even cheekier.
I don't think anyone was expecting this. I, like most of the community, had no clue what the race flags were, and my guess was going to be something like, you know, vanilla shops, none of the powerhouse characters, you know, things like that. But this has absolutely been incredible, and I'm really happy to have been surprised with them.
So Smatey here, taking another swing at the Zeromus fight. Has those elixirs rocking, is getting Zerk set up on Cecil to get the DPS going. Ideally also to help buffer some of these inputs. Again, if you need to nerf a Big Bang, having your Zerkers auto-swinging gives you a lot more time to both tell when that interval is and to get the action out. Everyone survives this first Big Bang. Very good to see.
You want as many people up after a Big Bang as possible. That's more chemists for you to use to help protect your party. Always happy to see the entire party survive.
I wonder. So also with the Edward situation, I wonder if any of our racers went hunting for vanilla Mist Dragon or the Waterfall Mist Dragon before realizing that Eddie had an item, because Eddie was our only way underground this seed. Kind of cheeky if you've forgotten that free key items are a thing.
Ooh, Smapety, the rest of his party taking a wipe, and I believe both Kane and Cecil are berserked. But there's the black hole. Maybe can make a recovery here.
Of course, each one will still take one more follow-up hit. Has an elixir queued up, but that Big Bang is also getting queued up. Vanilla agility anchoring is... Whew, it is hard to deal with after you've acclimated to the modern versions of the game. Well, modern, like it's 2 years old in them. What do you say?
I mean, it is technically modern compared to the original version, but still, there's the virus, there's the wipe. Smapety not having a good time in this Z fight.
Yeah, having to take another weapon reset, heading the other way this time. Looks like he's gonna accept the need for a few more levels here.
And it's not just taking those wipes, because random encounters are on, you still have to run through that lunar core since Smapety does not have the pass. So each time you wipe, that's just even longer to get to the Z fight.
Yeah, luckily he does have a stack of Sirens and a stack of 9 Hourglasses, which I think he's hunting for now, but they're up at the top. There they are. All right, good, good, good. So gonna have easy bunches of 90,000 XP at a time here by life glitching these King Ryus.
Meanwhile, Tybalt is in his Z fight. His characters has already done some grinding, so Cecil has a lot more HP. Edge is over 2k, and Rosa's at 2100, so a little bit safer of a fight for him.
Oh yeah, just having Rosa at that 2100 mark makes a big difference. A nerfed Big Bang can only do 1200 damage, several Big Bangs can do 2400, and the Big Bangs can do 2700. But if you have really good gear and levels under your belt, also increase your stats, which give you more magic evade multipliers. Like, that Big Bang was not nerfed at all, and Rosa only took 900 damage for it. That alone puts Tybalt in a much better situation right here than Smapety was dealing with.
I mean, 10 GP ribbons, that's pretty good magic defense right there.
Oh, absolutely. I also just noticed we have J spells active. I spied a little dispel there in Rosa's magic list. A spell that doesn't really get to do a lot in Final Fantasy IV because it's reflectable, so you can't break walls with it unless you bounce it off your own wall, and even then, like, bosses can be immune to. It's a bad spell, but still, it's kind of cute to see back when even J spells were not a separate flag parceled out from the rest of them.
That's something you kind of, another thing just take for granted, J spells being turned off. Not only does it take a little bit longer to get some of your spells, characters like Palom and Rydia just become not quite as good.
Oh, well, Palom learns his spells at the same place. It's Rosa and Rydia that get a little bit hosed by it. Yeah.
I so rarely play with J spells on because I've done so many Rydia percents.
Oh yeah, doing Rydia percent with J spells on, it's slow going with her XP curve. We did have a 10th place finisher, by the way. PK4787 came in 10th with a 142.09. Lots of people going to be wrapping up under 2 hours tonight. Good to see, in spite of these rather surprising flags they had to deal with.
Smitey still working a little bit on the grind. We have Rocks on Tybalt's side, and it only hits Cecil with everyone being near full HP. This fight is pretty much in the bag for him now. And there's the flash. Tybalt in 11th place with a time of 1:47.59. GG, well played to him.
Very well done. We'll see if we can get Tybalt in here for an interview in a moment.
And we are joined by Tybalt. GG, well played tonight.
Good game. Holy crap. Wow. Oh, that's actually the first time I've had it under 2 hours sometime.
Oh, nice. GG's.
GG.
I'm not used to having encounters on this, so...
Yeah, I was going to ask, but I think everyone's answer is the same at this point. What's your favorite quality of life improvement between this seed and the ones you play now in the more recent versions of the game?
I would definitely say the encounter toggle for sure. Not being be able to toggle those on and off is a great feature I like. The dash I can live without, but I like that one a lot. It's probably the dash and the toggle for encounters. Did anybody find the pass at all?
The pass was in Eblon Cave.
I thought about checking that, but I wasn't sure. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go. At this point, I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, a couple of our racers peaked there before heading to the moon. And the thing is that with the flags listing, without a P on them, you can be like, is there even a pass in this version of Free Enterprise? And so if you're not sure, very easy thing to think, oh, well, let me just go to the moon and walk it. So
Yep.
the
I'll make
oversight
a long
where it
track
was.
of run every single time. Yeah, because this is before I even started watching or playing Free Enterprise. So I'm sitting there going, oh god, oh, what do I do? But no, I liked how I did it. I found the crystal sword off the bat, and I was quite happy about that. I'm like, yes. I found there in Agart. That's where I found it. No. Either way.
I was gonna ask, what do you think of the a lot of those items? Their current prices are a little bit more than what you saw tonight. So like Avengers for 10, Ribbons for 10.
Well, I didn't see the Avengers. I would have liked to have an Avenger, but I saw the Masamune for cheaper, and I'm like, I'm gonna grab that. Ooh, Zeus gauntlets? Yes. Bought 2 of those instant for my 2 fighters. I like those prices a lot, but I don't see that happening with future flags. Just because you can get your characters pretty overpowered pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it was kind of, I was actually glad for a lot of racers to see that there, because with all the glitches enabled, people familiar with the item duplications can have basically infinite money in this flag set, so seeing that a lot of the great gear was still cheap anyway, made me breathe a sigh of relief. I thought it was going to be very one-sided for anyone who could do that glitch, but I'm really glad that even if you aren't familiar with that, you're still able to get all that really great and powerful equipment for your team. Very good to see.
Yeah, like for me, I don't know that many glitches. I know the life glitch and the warp glitch. That's it. So me seeing those prices and me to be able to afford those was really nice.
Very, very true. That was one nice thing if you weren't as familiar with the glitches. Did you have any final thoughts on the flags for tonight? The seed overall?
No, I thought it was actually pretty. It was a Jetty seed to be, if you think about it, get Magma Key pretty early on. If you do the right checks, you can go pretty quickly. Just you get loopholed every once in a while here. Where do I go next? But I think the flags were pretty interesting. Maybe have one for an event sometime. Besides the anniversary.
We'll definitely see if something like this gets brought back. But thank you so much for being on the restream tonight, and GG, well played on your run tonight.
And thanks for commentating it.
All right, folks, and we are now Smitey back in the Zeromus fight, a few additional levels under his belt, ready to get some revenge for the earlier shenanigans this seed. Quick mention, we do have a 12th place finisher, Rumblefish, is coming with a 149.53. And Smapey has transformed the Zeromus, and let's see how good the butt kicking goes this time.
His Cecil now having 2,700. His Edge and Kane both breaking 22 and 25 respectively. Rosa still under that 2,000, but I think he'll be okay here.
And of course, that stack of elixirs will be great. Main thing is just making sure you have enough players alive to where after these big bangs, you can still get those elixirs off, get the rest of the team going, or just have enough sheer DPS to skip a lot of the phases in the fight. Which, given these swings from that Cecil, I think we're going to be seeing probably the latter more than we're seeing the former there.
That's Cecil with a Crystal Sword hitting very, very hard. Palom, at least he's able to throw elixirs for this fight.
Yeah, Nuke is a little trickier to get when you don't have the double XP for 10 key items. A lot easier to get Zerkers online with this kind of gear than it is to grind, Palom and Porum to level 52, Rydia to 50 or 55, depending on the settings, Rosa to 52 for Holy. And we didn't see a Fu anywhere, did we? So, definitely a lot easier to do Zerker strats here than it is to grind the levels to do straight up reflect strats or hybrid strats.
Very, very true. Also to note with that Fu, the only character checks we didn't do was Eblon Cave and Package, and I believe Giants. So he could have been one of those three spots, none of which would be very appealing to our runners at this point. Or by the point they would have found the crystal. Fu, really strong early, but sometimes not the best in the Z fight. So Nuke is always welcome.
Smapey's still living a little dangerously here. That Edge is not Zerk though, so able to throw some elixirs out. Probably helps that Edge is such a fast character anyway.
Edge, one of the fastest characters in the game, and very capable of being a good chemist if need.
Ooh, but only gets elixirs off on the Zerkers for the big bang comes out, so Edge will not be surviving this one. Do Cecil and Kane have enough juice left in the tank to finish this fight? I think these Crystal Sword Berserk swings might be enough, but we'll have to wait and see.
There's the black hole.
So we'll see a little reduced damage from these next two swings. The good news is that, well, okay, that's not the good news. The nuke on Kane is not the good news. Still has plenty of elixirs. And Cecil should be able to survive a big bang if he's beaten to it here. Or, just solo the fight. That works too.
There's rocks, and they completely whiff on the Cecil.
Okay, that's really good news. It means those last couple of hits from Cecil and Kane were enough to tip Zeromus into Meteo mode. And with that adamant armor on Cecil, boom, there's the flash. GG Smapey, coming in 14th with a 156.28. Very well played. We're going to see if we can get him in for one final interview, folks, so stick around. We're not done yet tonight. And I'm hoping we're going to get to see that opening artwork that Scala had for us tonight, just for all the racers who didn't get to see it, can hopefully see it while we're closing out, because it's really cool.
And we are now joined by Smapey. GG on your run to...
Thank you very much. How did you guys play this before the encounter toggle? My LNR buttons are smashed so much out of anger that I don't think my controller will ever work again.
Well, actually, fun fact, I was notorious when I first got into the community for commentating every night encounters were on, rather than actually participating in a race where they were active. So I just didn't play the game without toggleable encounters. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't blame you.
Does that explain why you're always in sec?
Exactly. I just didn't get the practice in back when I should have.
But so Invin's asked this question of everyone. I'm going to ask you, and I'm pretty certain we know the answer. What is your most missed quality of life that you now have?
I mean, honestly, encounters is the easy one, but what really screwed me up a lot that I didn't realize was the menuing speed. I never really realized how much they had like Boardface had like shortened the delay in all of the menus. So I'm like sitting here like on the menu like hitting the buttons that I'm just used to out of muscle memory, and I've got to wait for all these like screens to fly all over the place, and it was infuriating, even if it was just a couple of milliseconds.
That's another one that take for granted, is that menu speed. Invin, you have any questions?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of a good way to word it. So
It's okay. Lay it on me. I can take it in.
Zeromus, what was the plan going in? And like, because you seem to be having a little bit of difficulty. You took a couple wipes and then went in grinding. What was going through your head? Like, what did you intend to happen the first time through, and how did you try to mitigate that on the subsequent ones? For anyone else who is playing a seed like this with vanilla agility anchoring, what tips do you have for us based on your experience tonight?
Don't be overconfident. I kind of went in, I assumed, I've got a crystal sword, adamant armor, Cecil, and 2 stacks of elixirs. Like, how could this possibly be difficult? And the answer is Zeromus is fast, and elixirs are great, but they're not mega elixirs, so you can only hit one person with them at a time. So yeah, don't underestimate how much turn economy matters. Just being able to actually heal the whole party in one turn, as opposed to taking several turns to get everybody up, and then another big bang coming out and wiping out the people that you need. I was very unprepared, but that was more of me panicking when all the dot-dons were coming in.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, our first few, there were some good hybrids of Apple strats with power overwhelming strats, with Eddie strats, although not actually using Edward, but things to skip refills, things to take advantage of apples, things to do tons of damage. So lots of options in play there. And you also lost a little bit of time because the pass was in Cave Applin's shop. There was a pass in play this seed, so having to walk the moon and deal with, again, those untoggleable encounters definitely would have probably increase that panic factor.
Okay, I assume the past just didn't exist at this point in Free Enterprise's history.
The fun fact, during the race, Antidil went into the changelog and pulled up some old features, and this was the first version where the pass was guaranteed to appear in a shop. Something was bugging out, making it not always appear. Version 1.4, pass was guaranteed.
That's crazy. I had just assumed there was no pass and that you had to go through the moon. I guess I overestimated how difficult it was back in the day.
Surprising amount of nice features to counterbalance the lack of quality of life. Just the overpowered items at your disposal definitely help mitigate a little bit of the subtle annoyances that we've grown out of.
Yeah, this was a pretty nice culture shock, so I'm glad I got a chance to participate.
So do you have any final thoughts on the seed or these particular?
Not really, just it's great to look back at 2 years of history. I joined about a year and a half ago after a lot of these things had changed, so it's really cool getting to see beyond that, and just how amazing it's been over this time. Just one of the greatest communities out there, and just huge thanks to everybody for putting the show on tonight, and for continuing to just make this seriously one of the best randomizers in the world.
And it's always a pleasure to see you run. GG on your run tonight, and definitely looking forward to seeing you. Are you competing in the football?
Yes, I will be competing. Hopefully a little bit better showing than what was done.
Looking forward to seeing you then and seeing you continue to race in the community. As always, pleasure to work with.
Thanks so much, you guys.
Reminder to everyone, make sure you give our 4 restream runners tonight a follow. They all put themselves out there for your entertainment, even though they had no idea what they were getting into until right when Scala sent them the seed. Huge shout out again to the restream team. Big thanks to Scala Kitty, our restreamer tonight, Neon Gray on the tracking, Valvolus, always a pleasure working with you.
Oh, it's likewise. It's always a great pleasure working with you, and of course Scala and Neon as well. Great pleasure working with both of
In the meantime, chat, we do have a community member, Big Dunka, who is practicing those upcoming Fabul Gauntlet flags. If you've not signed up and you're interested in getting in some 1v1 Swiss competition, first time ever in free enterprise, you should do it. Sign up, come have a fun time. You know, you're going to be matched with someone at your skill level, even if it takes a couple of Swiss rounds to sort things out. Maybe get a new practice partner, maybe learn some new tech or some new strategies that you're unfamiliar with. Make sure you sign up. In the meantime, we're going to ship you all over to Big Dunka, scope out a really great player practicing, and we'll see you back on the Randomania Network Friday for our next community race.